Good evening, Council, members of the public. I will now call to order the Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023 public hearing to order. First up on the agenda is adoption of this evening's agenda. Moved by Councillor Mulyk, seconded by Councillor Pearson. All in favor? It's carried. Under 3.1, I will now read aloud the public hearing statement. This public hearing, dated August 22nd, 2023, held in the Village of Valemount Council Chambers at 735 Cranberry Lake Road in Valemount, BC, is being convened pursuant to the terms of the Local Government Act prior to consideration of one item, and that is a temporary use permit 2305, the renewal of temporary use permit 2103 to permit temporary residential structure at 1945 Cranberry Place. At a public hearing, any person present who believes they are affected by a matter being considered shall be given an opportunity to be heard on the matter contained in the proposal. Members of the public speaking to the proposal should, at the appropriate time, commence your address to this council by stating your name and area of residence. We do not require your address, and at which time you can give us the benefit of your views concerning the proposal. Everyone who deems their interests are affected shall be given an opportunity to be heard at this meeting. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making their views known. All who submit comments at this public hearing will restrict their remarks to matters contained in the proposal, and it is my responsibility as chairperson of this meeting to ensure that all remarks are so restricted. At the conclusion of a public hearing, council may, without further notice, give whatever effect council believes proper to the representation made at the hearing. Under 4.1, for temporary use permit 2305, we do have a presentation from staff. With us is our village planner, Ms. Christaddy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight's public hearing is in regards to temporary use permit 2305, requesting to permit one RV to be used as a residence for a period of 3 years. The application proposes to allow a recreational vehicle to be parked on the property located at 1945 Cranberry Place, and the property is legally described as Lot 6, District Lot 7354, Caribou District Plan 19779, except Plan 30941. Temporary use permit 2305 is the renewal of temporary use permit 2103 that was permitted an RV as a residence for a period of 1 year. There have been no complaints or concerns from neighboring properties in the time that the RV has been in place. Application satisfies the requirements outlined in the Temporary Residential Structure Policy 83, including water, sewer, power, as well as garbage disposal and structure location. The RV has been confirmed to have the CSA Z240 certification. At the regular council meeting of July 25th, council gave initial approval to the proposed permit, and since then, adjacent property owners have been notified and affected residents have been invited to provide feedback via written submissions or at tonight's public hearing.
Thank you. And under 4.2, have there been any written submissions received prior to these proceedings?
As of noon today, we haven't received anything.
Thank you. Under 4.3, are there any comments from members of the public regarding this proposal? For a second time, is there any members of the public wish to forward any comments? And for a third and final offer, are there any comments from members of the public? Thank you. Is the proponent present in order to give any comments? Are there any questions from council under 4.5 to staff at this point, seeing how the proponent is not present? Then I will adjourn this public hearing. Thank you. Moving right along. I'll now call to order the Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023 regular meeting of council to order. And before we get started on the business at hand, I do want to just give our collective thoughts and well wishes to those impacted by wildfire. We have been extremely fortunate this season, whereas some of our colleagues are not having some of the weather that we've been receiving. So all of our thoughts are with them at this time. On that, under 2.1, adoption of this evening's agenda, please. Moved by Councillor Pearson, second by Councillor Mulyk. Are there any additions or deletions? All in favor? It's carried. A few minutes to adopt. First off, 3.1, adoption of the minutes of the July 25th, 2023 regular meeting of council. Moved by Councillor MacLean, second by Councillor Pearson. Are there any errors or omissions arising? All in favor? It's carried. Under 3.2, adoption of the minutes of the July 25th, 2023 public hearing. Moved by Councillor Mulyk, second by Councillor MacLean. Are there any errors or omissions arising? All in favor? It's carried. Adoption of the minutes of the August 3rd, 2023 special meeting of council. Moved by Councillor MacLean, second by Councillor Mulyk. Are there any errors or omissions? All in favor? It's carried. A couple of delegations this evening for council to be presented on. First one, 4.1, we have Mr. Sean Kelly and Mr. Ray Smith, on behalf of VARDA, subcommittee with the project Pump It Up. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks very much. Mayor, councillors, staff. Excited to present this evening on our project, and let's see if I can get this to...
I'd be able to help you get the full screen there as well if you like.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, Will, thanks so much.
We can just go back to the first slide too, that would be great. Excellent, thank you. So presenting on this evening on a project that's been brewing in town for some time. Just really trying to formalize it and get some support from the village. Once we get this up, we'll get started here.
We'll get her.
I think we're just looking for a slideshow there, Michael, if you have top red bar.
Middle-ish, just right of center.
6 red tabs over.
You touched her.
Just touched her, yeah. So if you go straight up with your cursor there to the red bar. And
Straight up?
And one down, you're immediately over top of it.
Slideshow?
That's the one.
And play from the beginning, please. Left corner. Thanks.
There we go.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate that, Michael. Thank you so much.
We'll see if my remote works here. I don't think it is.
I can put it forward.
Okay. All right, if we can just go to the second slide, that'd be great. Thanks. So our purpose here is to explore the feasibility of creating an all-wheeled skills park in the village. So this would really complement existing infrastructure, including the bike park that we currently have. Now, an all-wheeled skills park, I've got some slides. I'll demonstrate what that looks like as I get through the presentation here. But successful anticipated outcomes would look like providing access to people with a wide range of skills on wheels. So primarily bikes, but also scooters, skateboards, wheelchairs, from very beginners all the way up to advanced pro-level riders. So the skills parks that I've ridden at and participated in, you know, you've got everything from toddlers on run bikes to, like I said, pro-level riders all participating in the same environment. So providing that that landscape where people could come together, ride, wheel, is the idea here. These skills parks really support riders and users to develop their skills in a really safe environment. I think we're all relatively familiar with, you know, some of the events that happen in the bike park. There's injuries, and these skills parks really allow riders, cyclists, to progress their skill in a really safe sort of unique environment. This type of resources in a community is, again, just to really introduce some safe riding practices, but also build community. I've experienced these facilities all across the country, from Ontario, Quebec, Alberta, and BC. I haven't ridden any in Saskatchewan or Manitoba, but they're amazing facilities, and so we'll get going here. Next slide, please. So skills parks and pump tracks are one of the fastest growing municipal pieces of infrastructure that are being built in North America right now. I think second to pickleball courts. But there's around 30 in BC currently, and they really range in complexity and size. I've been trying to explore all the parks that are relatively local to us here, or, you know, within several hours drive. Some of them are very simple, some are very small, some are really complex, and so there's a real range, you know, in a site assessment, looking at what lands might be available for us to use and build on. Once we have a parcel of land that might be considered useful for our purposes, you know, we'd get a design team in and look at doing a bit of a feasibility study and doing a site assessment. And then finally, we'd definitely include some community input to get people's input on what they would like for final design.
Sorry, Sean.
Yes.
Councillor Pearson, can you do something with that fan, please?
Thanks.
No? All right.
That should be.
Thanks.
So I've got a few slides of some examples. This is a pump track in Golden that was a dirt track that they resurfaced to get covered in asphalt. And so you can clearly see a couple of riders, young riders on the pump track. And these surfaces are really low maintenance. They've got a history, you know, of being very low cost for maintenance. So that's great. Varda also has a long history of trail maintenance and volunteer support for maintaining the projects that we've built. If I can go to the next slide, please. So again, we've got a couple of examples of, you know, skills parks and pump tracks. The left is Kelowna, the right is one in Penticton. These ramps are just sort of like used as accelerating ramps to roll into a series of jumps. And again, having multiple features in a park, in a skills area, really draws people in. Sometimes when you have isolated infrastructure, like just a little pump track or just some jumps, they can get, they're not as well used. But when you've got a multitude of things for people to ride, the interest is increased, the skill level increases, and it's really amazing to see the people come together of all ages. Every time I go to one of these parks, I meet people from, you know, young kids, teenagers, other adults. They're great hubs of people just excited to be outside. If we can go to the next slide. On the left, we have an example of some low structures, sort of kid-friendly skill development in Strathcona. And then on the right, a couple of photos from the Skills Park in Revelstoke, where they've really adopted like outdoor environmental features. It was a really neat design. And again, you know, drawing kids and users outside is the big draw with these. They can really set, you know, users on a path of, you know, healthy, active living, building skills, building confidence on wheels, whether it's bike, scooter, skateboard, wheelchair. They're really, really awesome for that. Yeah, so I don't come as a single person here. We've got an ad hoc committee, a special project committee, subcommittee of VARDA. We've got currently 7 members. We have our terms of reference. They have been confirmed. We've had a fundraiser that ran and was really successful. We had some surveys were taken in on public input there, all really positive, people really excited to hear about this project starting to gain some momentum. So our initial project plan and timeline, in July, we were able to strike a committee and confirm our terms of reference. And next steps include determining the likelihood of land and locations and securing funds for a site assessment, which has begun. And we've got some grants that we're targeting for that initial funding and site assessment. VARD also has stated that they would be donating some funds to that site assessment and initial design. And then once that initial step is completed, then we're going to be looking at reviewing the feasibility based on those outcomes, and then proceeding with targeting what grants and figuring out what sort of funds we'll need to target. Yeah. So, and then if I could just get the last slide there. Oh, was that it? That's it. Okay. Yeah, so we're asking for some staff support this evening, and I know I don't require a response on that now, but that's the ask. We're looking for some staff input, so we can look at existing lands, what would be feasible. And so I'm also happy to take some questions and try to answer and shed some light on pump tracks and skills parks if anybody has any questions.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Kelly. Motion to receive the delegation, moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Mulyk. Questions for the presenter? Councillor Pearson.
Exciting project. Looks like it would be interesting. I was kind of curious, and you explained it about the wheeled part of it. I didn't anticipate wheelchairs being included, but that would be an interesting
I've
feature.
ridden with some wheelchair users, and it's unbelievable to see their skill.
Yeah.
For those specific users. But yeah, in Whistler Bike Park, I was there for an event, and there were some wheelchair users, and it was mind-blowing.
Yeah, no, I'm really
So
excited for it. So,
yeah.
no particular questions, just.
Councillor Mulyk.
Yeah, just an observation, I guess. It just seems like such a logical progression, a good fit. I guess where I'm excited to see this, and this is that, we've got the mountain bike park, which is good for locals and people from around the region, but something like this is good for locals.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is what we're really, I guess this, from my perspective, is something that we really want to encourage, with the high school, with getting the bikes, encouraging, that age group to start looking at what's in their backyard and getting a good appreciation and understanding. Getting younger involved is such a good idea. This whole idea of providing the safe environment, providing the necessary, working on those skills from the ground up is, it's really encouraging to hear.
One of the points I neglected to make during the presentation was that, to ride in our bike park, you need to have a pretty expensive bicycle generally that can handle the impacts and that the terrain puts on them. However, these types of parks, you can roll in on a $200 BMX bike. And that's primarily what I ride at these parks. I have a very inexpensive BMX bike. It's very basic, and you can just have a ton of fun for hours and hours.
Anything further, Council? Well, thank you very much, Mr.
Okay.
Keller. I really
Thank
appreciate you taking the time to come out and see us and give us a run-through of a potential project.
Super.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any further comments, discussion, Council, on the delegation? All in favor of receipt? It's carried. As mentioned, we do have another delegation for Council to receive, and that is from the Valemount Learning Society and the Food Security Programs presentation by Corey Marshall. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Corey Marshall. I'm the chair of the Valemount Learning Society, and I understand that Council is interested in learning a bit more about the state of food security in the community. So I thought I'd tell you a bit about a couple of our food programs. First, I want to thank Council and staff for your ongoing support of the Valemount Farmers Market. The Learning Society took over the Farmers Market in 2021, and this summer I've been the manager. Some of you might remember Dallas Mulyk was the manager back when the market was revived in 2012. And since then, the village has graciously allowed us to set up the market every Thursday from mid-June until end of September from 4 to 7 on the field just behind this building. You provided a couple power outlets that some of our vendors and performers can use, and allowed us to place a storage shed on the property. The shed was vital in keeping the market alive when COVID-19 hit, and now allows us to provide a tent for performers. With our Make It, Bake It, Grow rules, the market helps support local producers as well as artisans, and the nutrition coupon program from BC Farmers Markets is a huge hit with seniors and low-income families in the community. We have 50 spots for the program this year, with most of them being sponsored by Columbia Basin Trust. The coupon program helps get local fresh food like veggies, fruit, eggs, and meat to the community, and helps support the producers of those items by increasing their sales. We know people love the farmers market, but it also has an economic impact on the community outside of the field here. In June, we participated in an economic impact study on farmers markets in BC. The study was sponsored by the BC Association of Farmers Markets in collaboration with Dr. David Connell of UNBC. And we received our preliminary report showing that the estimated economic benefit of the Valemount Farmers Market on the local economy is approximately $358,600 annually. The report estimates the average customer spends $35 per visit at the market, with 43% of the participants identifying as tourists or day trippers to Valemount, and 61% of participants attending the market at least regularly. We had a huge number of people participate in the survey, and a full report will be released later with the combined results from other farmers markets across BC. We know how valuable our farmers market is, and the study helps quantify it and helps us communicate it to the rest of the community. Our other food program is Village Greens. In 2021, with funding from NDIT, the Valemount Learning Society purchased a hydroponic growing system built inside a 40-foot container. The container allows us to grow leafy greens such as lettuce, spinach, Swiss chard, and a variety of herbs year-round. Folks can pick up their choice of our weekly greens on Tuesdays at the garage at 1295 Gordon Road. That's the Juniper Square apartment buildings. And we distribute in the summer at the farmers market. We also sell to some local restaurants, and we donate our surplus harvest to programs such as Meals on Wheels, the Farm Free Food Stand from RVCS, and the school food programs. We often hear that the availability and pricing of fresh greens at local grocery stores can be hit and miss, and the quality is not always good, as it is mass-produced and often shipped massively long distances. With Village Greens, your community can get fresh greens harvested weekly, grown right here in Valemount. People are often curious about our growing container, and I'd like to offer council and staff a chance to come have a look inside it. It's at the Valemount Industrial Park next to the Community Forest Office building, and if anyone's interested, just let me know and we can work out a time. Food security is often simply defined as having reliable access to a sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food. It can be a lot more complex than that, and no one program can address all aspects of it. But we really feel that the Village Greens programs and the Valemount Farmers Market provide valuable opportunities for the community to access fresh, local, nutritious food at an affordable price. So thank you for your interest in food security and for your support of our programs.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Marshall. Motion to receive the delegation, moved by Councillor MacLean, seconded by Councillor Mulyk. Questions for the delegation? Comments? Councillor Pearson.
I will comment on the Village Greens program. Prime example is a bag sitting right beside me that was delivered kindly by you. And I did have a walkthrough of the container. It's amazing how much product comes out of a 40-foot container. It's a great program. So yeah, fully support that. So
Excellent. Thank you very much. Councillor Mulyk.
A comment or two to make him. I was not surprised at all to see the numbers on that report. You know, I don't think I haven't spoken to anyone that this subject isn't uppermost or you know, everyone's given this some thought, you know, the whole food security and you know, I guess I just applaud the direction you're going and continue.
Thank you, Councillor, any final thoughts? Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Marshall, for the presentation this evening. Congratulations on the ongoing success of your programs, and we look forward to supporting it where we can.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the delegation itself? All in favor of receipt? It's carried. We do have correspondence for action to consider under 6.1. It is the Varda pump, project Pump It Up with a request for village staff support. As I am on that ad hoc subcommittee, I do declare a conflict of interest. I believe Councillor MacLean? No, Mulyk.
I do believe it is Councillor Mulyk at this time. We'll help you through anything we need to
Okay.
here, sir.
Thank you, Councillor. Good luck.
Thank you.
Looking at item 6.1 at this time, Councillor, the Varda Pump It Up village staff support. There's a recommendation there before you, if you like, sir. And so you could certainly introduce that as a motion to start discussion there.
Okay. I'd like to bring that forward then as a motion to discuss.
I'll move it. As recommended, that council consider contributing village staff time to explore possible locations for the proposed skills park and pump track project. Formal commitment and membership on the committee. That was the request, and I will move.
Seeking a seconder. Okay. Any discussion, councillors?
Just a comment that, I'll throw out that we have had discussions on staff capacity, a lot of staff members wearing multiple hats, and I just want to confirm that this is not going to be more of a burden for any particular staff member to take on as a monthly or a bi-monthly meetings of an hour and a half kind of thing. So that would be my only concern to staff.
Thinking about process here, so to the acting worship, to the councillor's comments, in this case, I don't believe that this would be a hindrance on staff capacity, as this request is related to land allocation, and we are aware of competing demands in some of our public lands, whether it's the pump track request, a future home of a cemetery, or the dog park that has been requested in previous days. I think staff representation, liaison does make good sense in this case as we work to figure out the land allocation within the village. So on my part for administration, not concerned and would encourage attendance there if it's supported by council.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because I'm really happy to hear that, because I think it's definitely worth the involvement, the effort.
Thank you, councillor. From here, you'd be looking to have any other discussion and then move for a vote if nothing else comes forward.
Any more discussion? Okay.
Call into question, all those in favor?
All in favor?
So moved.
Sorry.
We can retrieve our our chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mulyk. What was the verdict?
It was approved.
Excellent, thank you. On to the reading file. Is there anything council would like to bring to surface? I'll start at the end with Councillor Pearson.
First up, item number 1, the RCMP collective agreement negotiations. Just wondering budget ramifications. They're suggesting a 3.5%. Is that I've read other places that's retroactive. How would that impact us?
Mrs. McNee, our Director of Finance, would be awesome for a response to that.
Unfortunately, we've never received anything officially yet, other than the amounts.
Okay, so we just wait for the axe to fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a policing committee that comprises of UBCM, the province, the RCMP, several elected officials of varying populations and municipalities, and I don't know if they have an answer yet either. Hopefully there'll be a workshop at UBCM this year, and we can probably get some answers that way. Anything further, Councillor Pearson?
That was all for me, thanks.
Councillor MacLean?
I was happy to see the Forest Practices Board, Forest Fire Management call to action. They are, of course, the watchdog of the forest industry. So for them to bring out a call to action and refer to it as bold and immediate action needs to be is required by the provincial government to align policies and programs across all levels of government with a vision of landscape resilience and human coexistence with fire. Was good to see. I'm just so pleased to see that they are taking this leadership role, and we will see them at the Union of BC municipalities.
Will you be making a visit?
I will be.
Excellent. Anything further, Councillor? Councillor Mulyk?
I just wanted to say ditto to Councillor MacLean. You know, I was very happy to see this, and it couldn't be more timely to get this, you know, this step in getting the step in the right direction, getting this moving.
Thank you. Nothing further. On to administrative reports. 8.1, building inspection report for the and permit values for June and July of 2023, that it be received. Councillor Pearson, second by Councillor Mulyk. Discussions? Question? All in favor? It's carried. 8.2, bylaw enforcement summary report for July 2023, that the report be received. Councillor MacLean, second by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 8.3, we have the 2023 January to June quarterly budget report to be received. Moved by Councillor Pearson, second by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion? Oh, Councillor Pearson.
Just actually, not so much a question as a request in the analysis portion. If we'd be able to have a percentage attached to the increase in revenues and expenses. I know it is in the big report, but if it in the short form on the analysis, if we could just have percentages, that would be awesome.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. We have a municipal donation request from the Valemount Marine Association, and as I sit on that board, I'll be recusing myself for that decision as well. Thank you, Councillor Mulyk.
One more time, sir.
We're back at it, are we?
Yeah, I know myself.
And so
So, do you want me to, just the background? As provided in the letter, the Marine Association holds an annual fishing derby for the community. Donations received go to the purchase of prizes, food, and/or trophy sponsorship. All donations are mentioned at the awards ceremony and on their website. And
there's a recommended motion that could be put forward in response to the letter if a councillor chooses. Seeing a mover for
I will move.
Mover for that recommendation.
Yep.
And second.
second it.
And for the record, that's that council approve a grant in the amount of $250 to the Valemount Marine Association to contribute to prizes, food, and trophy sponsorship for their 42nd annual fishing derby. At this time, we would be looking to call for discussion, and then after discussion, move to a vote.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
We can retrieve them there. Thank you, Councillor.
All sorted?
The motion was approved as presented.
Thank you. 8.5, 2024 permissive tax exemptions. Recommendation here that council approves the following not-for-profit organizations a tax exemption for the 2023 tax year. I would entertain a motion that we consider the 5 permissive tax exemptions as a block. Councillor Pearson?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Mulyk, that the 5 permissive tax exemptions be considered as a block. Discussion on that motion. All in favor? It's carried. Does anybody want to start the bidding? Councillor MacLean.
I will move that we give 25%, the same as last year.
25%, across the board. Is there a seconder? Councillor Mulyk, that the District Royal Canadian Legion Branch 266, Valemount Affordable Rental Society, Valemount Curling Club, Valemount Learning Society, and the Valemount Lions Club be granted a 25% tax exemption for the 2023 year. Moved and seconded, discussion, 2024 year. Thank you. We'll just make that little note. 2024 year. Discussion on the motion. All in favor? That's carried. 8.6, development variance permit 2301 at 1145 Canoe View Place. The recommendation that development variance permit 2301 for 1145 Canoe View Place, legally described as Lot 12, District Lot 7355, Caribou District Plan BCP 20630, to increase the maximum height of an accessory building to 7.01 meters or 23 feet, be approved. Moved by Councillor Pearson, second by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion on approval. All in favor? It's carried. 8.7, development variance permit 2302 for 1100 14th Avenue, with a recommendation that approval be given to development variance permit 2302 for 1100 14th Avenue, legally described as Lot 11, District Lot 7355, Caribou District Plan 26762, in order to decrease the minimum width of a principal building from 4.75 meters or 16 feet to 14.27 meters or 14 feet, and to increase the maximum age of a mobile home from 20 years to 28 years. We do have a written comment that was submitted, and it will form part of the minutes, but I'll get a motion for approval. Or I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Councillor MacLean, seconded by Councillor Mulyk. And on that, the written submission was in favor of approval. So with the motion on the floor, I'll look for discussion. All in favor? It's carried. 8.8, temporary use permit number 2305, which is a renewal of TUP 2103 for 1945 Cranberry Place, with a recommendation that temporary use permit 2305, a renewal of TUP 2103 for 1945 Cranberry Place, legally described as Lot 6, District Lot 7354, Caribou District Plan 19779, except Plan 30941, proposing the renewal of temporary use permit for a period of 3 years, be approved. Moved by Councillor Mulyk, seconded by Councillor Pearson. Discussion on approval. No comments made at the public hearing earlier. All in favor? It's carried. Bylaws and policies. 9.1 for the Village of Valemount. Council Procedure Amendment Bylaw number 878, 2023, with a recommendation that Council Procedure Bylaw number 834, 2020, Amendment Bylaw number 878, 2023, proposing changes to the regulations regarding electronic meeting attendance be adopted as presented. Moved by Councillor Mulyk, seconded by Councillor MacLean. Discussion on final adoption. All in favor? Is carried. 9.2, Village of Valemount Delegation of Authority Bylaw number 882, 2023. A couple of recommendations to consider, Council. First one, that officer designation and delegation of authority bylaw number 882, 2023 be given first and second reading. Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion on that. All in favor? It's carried. And if Council wishes, that a committee of the whole be scheduled prior to third reading of the bylaw, should you feel that the further discussion or clarification is required. Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion. Is staff looking for a date tonight?
Your worship, not at this time. If council would entertain it, I'll circle a couple of options out to everyone here tomorrow morning, and we can schedule the time that's the most can attend that committee of the whole.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for staff at this point? All in favor? It's carried. I don't see any new business. Is there any notices of motion to come forward? Then on to council reports under 12.1. The lonely councillor on the right-hand side, Councillor Mulyk. You did all the work as deputy mayor today.
So, on the 14th, I attended a meeting with Natasha Dempsey-Strong of Nuco Modular with Mayor Torgerson and CEO, and that was actually quite an interesting meeting. It was very timely for what they're trying to do. It was I could see all kinds of opportunities. You know, at that time they were discussing more daycare and that type of thing, but which we're already proactive on that one, and that's almost coming to fruition soon. But there was lots of other opportunities, I think, possibilities that came to us too from that meeting. So I think that could very well bear fruit in the future for us or someone. On the next day, on the 15th, I attended a tourism meeting, which is also quite interesting with everything going on in the province right now. And just seeing how folks are trying to mitigate all the challenges and trying to keep a brave face in the face of adversity, I guess you could say. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Councillor MacLean.
On August the 3rd, I attended the special meeting of council regarding the lease agreement with the Robson Valley Community Services for Gore Street and appointing individuals to the Traffic and Transportation Committee. As well that day, I attended a Zoom Arrow Lakes update from BC Hydro regarding their efforts to cope with an extremely dry year. August 14th, excuse me, was the Columbia River Treaty Local Government Committee's regular meeting, and then BC Hydro's update to mayors and other stakeholders regarding the drought conditions in the Kinbasket Reservoir. On August 16th, I attended a Columbia Basin Regional Advisory Committee meeting for an update on the negotiations. And later that day, along with Councillors Blanchette, Pearson, and our CAO Depenau, a meeting with the RCMP to explore mutually beneficial initiatives with regard to policing in the village of Valemount. And tonight at 5 p.m., I attended a virtual listening session for the modernization of the Columbia River Treaty with the U.S. negotiating team.
What round are we at, 19?
We're going into 19. We just completed 18, which was hosted by the U.S. in Seattle. And the press release is available on the Government of British Columbia's website or on also on the social media sites for the Columbia River Treaty.
Thank you. Does that conclude your report?
It concludes my report.
Thank you. Councillor Pearson.
You didn't squeeze anything in between 5 o'clock and now?
No, I know.
I hate summer. There's a month between meetings. It's tough to keep track. July 27th, had a meeting with the Regional Connectivity Committee, along with Mayor Torgerson. August 1st, the Community Forest regular meeting. August 3rd, in the morning, I had a drive basically around town down 5th Avenue with EDO Gislamberti and Superintendent Public Works Pelche, confirming locations for wayfinding signs and hoping the contractor is going to be able to get on those in the next little while to get those up. August 3rd, also attended the special council meeting. And on August 16th, also attended the meeting with the RCMP. I think it was a really healthy discussion and something that we could probably look at doing on a more regular basis, maybe quarterly or biannually, just to keep up with what's going on in the community and how we can work together. That's my report.
When was our RCC meeting?
July 27th.
We have to add that.
It's tough to keep up a month at a time.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Pearson, and I too attended the July 27th Southeast BC Connectivity, Regional Connectivity meeting. August 1st, along with our CAO, we met with Dr. Ray Markham around the Emergency Health Services / Valemount Health Center ER Emergency Room Business Prototype Planning meeting that we're hoping to present to the province at UBCM. Later that day, I had a provincial situational update with Minister Kang and Minister Ma. August 3rd, with you all for the special meeting at council. August 10th, I had a pretty cool interview with CFIS out of Prince George, the host, with Trudy Klassen. She wanted to know more about our Strongest Town contest application and why we thought we wanted to enter and what it was like to be in the Sweet 16 and the only Canadian municipality to do so. And then later that day, I had a provincial situational update with Minister Kang and Minister Ma. August 11th, we were able to meet with the Director of Finance at CIBC for the bank transfer for the house purchase in partnership with Northern Health. August 14th, I had along with Councillor MacLean and our community representative, Corey Marshall, and Mayor Merlin Blackwell for a Kinbasket Reservoir level forecast meeting with BC Hydro. Later that day, along with Councillor Mulyk and our CAO, met with the proponents of NUCO. One comment, Councillor Mulyk, was that I wanted to raise is not your typical modular design. Very high ceilings, lots of open light. I thought that was breaking away from the mold. I thought it was outstanding. August 16th, had an update call with Modi Regional Manager Sean Holohan. We will not be getting a decel lane anytime soon for the transfer station. However, they have provided permission to the RD Regional District for access to the ministry right away around that location to bring down the slope angles of that road, and so it might help with better identifying that there is a roadway there. They did a traffic study and it did not meet the threshold. August 17th, Regional Board Day in Prince George, starting with Environment and Parks, and then the Regional Hospital Board, and then we had a closed session, and then that afternoon with an open board session. And then on the 18th, met with Director of Finance, CIBC, for a bank transfer for the purchase of our new Public Works fleet vehicle, or actually village fleet vehicle, which is a 2023 Ford F-150 Lightning electric vehicle. And then yesterday, pardon me, I had a provincial situation update with Ministers Kang and Ma. That concludes my report. Motion to receive. Moved by Councillor MacLean, seconded by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion. All in favor? It's carried. We do have time for public comment under 14.1. Are there any public comments from members of the public on items considered by council as part of the approved agenda? Hi.
Hi. I'm Rashmi Narayan. I live in Valemount. Wanted to comment on some things on the agenda. One is, the farmers market presentation from Corey. As I think it's been great to see it grow, and one of the reasons why I think it's successful is because we have somebody paid managing it. As a volunteer, I was involved in starting it early 2000. I think ran it for 3 years, and there weren't enough vendors. But we need a paid person, and I think it's also impact is like. Local vendors, access to local vendors and buying local, it highlights that more. So I'm pleased with what's happening with that. I wanted to mention that. And also to Sean Kelly's presentation, I think it's a great project, partly because it's more accessible because it's more affordable, and it's also like in town. And that also makes it more accessible. And the fact that I think multiple ages are there, the same space, I think also makes for community building. When they're at the bike park, they're on their trails by themselves here. I think there's more interaction. I see that project as really good for community building. So I wanted to throw my support for that. And lastly, I wanted to mention, I saw the special minutes from August 3rd, and in that there was mention of the Housing Accelerator Fund, and I'm presuming it went ahead. You guys went ahead. If you did, I'm thrilled about it. I think now with the pipeline workers going out of town, it's an opportunity to kind of visit, what the community's priorities are, and maybe review the housing assessment from last year and kind of look at the direction to fill in the gaps, because we have RBCS housing, coming online, the seniors. So there's some other gaps to make it better for, young families and, service industry workers. So I hope that fund allows the village to allocate some resources and look at that. So I'm pleased.
I can confirm that we did get our application in on time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Good
With
news.
even minutes to spare.
Good news. I know it's tight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Other public comments this evening? Chance for public comment. Motion to receive public comments. Moved by Councillor Mulyk, seconded by Councillor MacLean. All in favor for seat? It's carried. No reason to go into in-camera. And on that, I just want to thank staff for, I don't think we've gone in camera since April,
I don't know if that's.
May, but it's been a while, so it's kind of nice. I like it. Thank you. So I'll ask for.
Bad news on September then, but
thank you. Not looking forward to September 12th then. Then I'll ask for adjournment, please, Councillor Pearson.